Tonight, as Republicans blast Minnesota's governor, he signals he might relax restrictions on bars and restaurants. And plans to return. We take a look at what Superior schools are doing as some students prepare to go back to the classroom. Plus, counting COVID fatalities. We're digging into what it takes to get the virus listed as the cause of death in Wisconsin.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. Republican leaders are blasting Minnesota Governor Tim Walz for not yet letting restaurants know what will happen to indoor dining restrictions that expire next week. They released videos of themselves on Facebook standing outdoors saying Walz is leaving restaurants out in the cold. But changes could be coming. Here's Esme Murphy.
I'm Senator Michelle Benson, out in the cold, which is where Governor Walz has left our bars and restaurants.
Republican state senators Michelle Benson and Eric Pratt followed up on their demands from last week that Governor Tim Walz give bars and restaurants 7-day advance notice on any restoration of indoor dining.
He has to let bars and restaurants know today.
Governor Tim Walz is expected to make an announcement on possibly easing indoor dining restrictions on Wednesday, and there are indications that he might ease those restrictions. In a recent interview, Governor Walz cited declining cases. Minnesota's cases are down 38% over 2 weeks ago. Scott O'Brien owns O'Brien's Public House in Shakopee.
We're struggling.
O'Brien will get $25,000 from the state under the $216 million relief plan passed by the state legislature. But after months of closures, it's not enough.
Every little bit helps, but that's a little bit.
Hospitality Minnesota, an industry trade group, says at minimum the governor needs to allow indoor seating at 50% capacity.
This has continued to be just a decimating time for these businesses. We know that takeout has really gone down quite a bit in this winter time frame for people.
Hospitality Minnesota says its own survey found that without a significant easing of restrictions, nearly 50% of Minnesota restaurants say they could go out of business in the next 3 months.
Meanwhile, Minnesota is trying to speed up its vaccination efforts. As of today, more than 78,000 doses have been administered across the state. That's less than 30% of the doses Minnesota was allocated. Here in the Twin Ports, Essentia spokespeople say they surpassed 3,000 doses at their Duluth campus today. They say not all Essentia employees have been vaccinated yet, but they're moving through their list as efficiently as possible. Meanwhile, St. Luke's has vaccinated 2,000 employees, calling it a quick process. In just 1 week, students in Superior will be heading back to the classroom, both virtually and in person. CBS 3's John Cardinelli takes a look at some of the changes the district is making in the new year.
Students in the Superior School District will return to the classroom next Monday as the district changes the criteria for virtual versus in-person.
It's staff absences now, not community transmission rates.
District Administrator Amy Starzecki says students who participate in athletics will also be experiencing some changes as athletics have now started back up.
They'll be wearing masks. So that's pretty consistent with the fall. We didn't have high-risk sports play in the fall, so football was restricted. But this semester, we are moving forward with, for example, hockey and basketball and wrestling.
As for who goes to school when, here's the breakdown. Elementary school kids will be in the classroom every day but Wednesday, which will be virtual learning. Middle and high schoolers will alternate days in the classroom for the purpose of social distancing. Half are in school Monday to Tuesday, half are in school Thursday, Friday. Wednesday is virtual. The district will also continue their intense cleaning schedules and enforce social distancing.
I think we did a good job of that in the fall and the early winter, and I think that will continue the spring and late winter.
Starzecki says a big help through this process has been community feedback. If you have any for the district, we have a link to contribute it on our website, cbs3duluth.com. As we enter a new year, college campuses are preparing for a new semester. Lake Superior College officials say COVID-19 precautions and campus changes went better than expected for the fall semester. More than half of the college's classes were online, with some technical programs having class on campus, like the aviation and firefighter training programs. Daniel Fanning said they had some students test positive for COVID, but most were students learning online. LSC officials say feedback they got from students was that they want more hybrid model classes going into the spring semester.
just to have some of that safe face-to-face interaction. Students seemed hungry for that. And so we're actually doing a little bit more of that for the spring. Not necessarily more classes on campus, but at least more opportunity to meet with faculty.
Fanning says they've found some courses and programs work better for students in an online or hybrid model. He says they will continue to provide those learning models post-pandemic. All right, let's switch gears, go over to the weather. Dave, few flurries for a little bit of us this morning. Actually, I guess it was a little bit more than flurries, but turned out to be a pretty decent day.
Yeah, it started to break up cloud-wise in the afternoon after those morning flurries that could have added up if they stuck around. But here in Duluth, I think they lasted, what, 10, 15 minutes? Yeah. Big, fat, sassy flakes, but they went away fairly quickly. And then temperatures went way up. Let's take a look at the high temps coming in today. 40 degrees in Grand Rapids, 39 for Hibbing. Even 29 in Hayward is warmer than normal. 30 Solon Springs, 30 Ashland and Ironwood. And because of the warm temperatures, we melted a bit of snow. And especially down towards Solon Springs, Siren, and Hayward, we're looking at then a dense fog advisory in effect overnight tonight. That includes Pine County in Minnesota till about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Well, once we get into tomorrow, things are going to mellow out temperature-wise. Again, be warmer than normal, just not as warm as warmer than normal like things were today. We'll fall into the upper 20s. But upper teens is where we're supposed to be. Will we descend back to normal? Any Arctic outbreaks for the week ahead? Well, we'll show you the 7-day forecast coming up in a few more minutes.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Dave. More than 350,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. The president calls that total, quote, far exaggerated. There are still a lot of conspiracy theories out there about how COVID deaths are counted. So Amanda Quintana shows us just how COVID ends up on a death certificate.
It's pretty rare for a death certificate to say just COVID-19. There are often multiple causes of death listed, things that were caused by the virus and contributed to the death.
The proximal cause of death might say pulmonary embolism or blood clot in the lung, COVID-19. Now, if that person didn't have COVID-19, they never would have died from a pulmonary embolism.
Dr. Jeff Pothoff at UW Health says it's a similar story with other causes, like heart attacks. It might be listed first on a death certificate, but if COVID caused that heart attack, COVID will also be listed. In Wisconsin, healthcare providers are then required to report it through an online system called WEDS, and that's how it ends up on DHS's death count.
Every death that we report is a report of a clinician in a hospital or a medical examiner who has made a determination based on the clinical evidence that a person's death was in part or mainly due to COVID-19.
If someone got hit by a train, I don't think any of us would say, well, it's their obesity that killed them, right? It was the fact they got hit by a train that killed them. So it's kind of similar where you say, you know, someone had high blood pressure, they died from that, not COVID. It just doesn't hold much weight.
Pothoff says doctors can tell if someone was at risk before or if it was COVID that brought on these new issues. And they're actually using death certificates to learn more about the virus.
So then we start thinking about treatment strategies that might thin the blood so that more people don't have to die of blood clots who have COVID-19.
Meanwhile, Superior firefighters started getting vaccinated for COVID-19 today. Chief Scott Gordon says 18 people received the vaccine. Gordon tells us it feels great to be taking the step in the right direction. 18 other members will be vaccinated Wednesday. Meanwhile, Republicans in Wisconsin are planning to cobble together a COVID relief bill, something they haven't done since April. Speaker Robin Vos says a bipartisan package will be passed by the end of the week, something Democrats would be glad to see happen. But what's in that bill is still a sticking point. Here's Gabriela Bacara.
The Assembly didn't take up a COVID-19 relief bill today, but Speaker Robin Vos wants one introduced and voted on this week.
Those of you who were here know the legislature approved a bipartisan relief package within the first month of the pandemic. This week, the Assembly should act once again.
Vos says both parties already negotiated parts of the bill, including Governor Tony Evers.
The proposal we are introducing today has over 44 provisions to help fight the virus and reopen our economy and our schools.
Meanwhile, Evers is asking the legislature to pass his proposals. Evers said one of his bills includes up to $100 million for public health expenses. Local leaders agree that help needs to come soon.
Ever there was a time for people to come together on all levels of government and lead by example and do what's best for the people of our county and our state and our nation, it's now.
Dane County Executive Joe Parisi says they're doing everything they can on a local level. While another round of federal funding will help, it's not enough, and he feels the same way about Republicans' inaction last session.
People are suffering, both physically through illness. People are suffering economically. So we need some help. We need the state to come in, and we need the legislature, frankly, to do its job.
Republicans won't need Democrats in either house to approve their bills, but they don't have enough votes to override a veto from Evers, which means some negotiation may be necessary.
So let's join together to get this bill passed this week and provide the help Wisconsinites need.
Meanwhile, Minnesota's 2021 legislative session begins tomorrow morning, but few lawmakers will ever set foot in the Capitol. The House will meet through Zoom, and the Senate will meet through a hybrid approach. The public will be able to take part in some Zoom meetings and hearings. COVID-19 response, the governor's emergency powers, and a new 2-year budget will be some of the major issues lawmakers take up. As was the case the last 2 years, it's a divided legislature. The House is controlled by Democrats, and the Senate is led by Republicans. Still to come on Live Local CBS3, many Northlanders had their favorite events canceled this year. Learn how one is taking on the challenge next.
Record high temp for this date is 40 degrees. It's from just 2 years ago, 2019. Well, tomorrow will be warmer than normal, but not quite that warm. We'll talk about how long the warm spell will last coming up after our break.
Live, local, CBS3 News at 10 with Kristen Vaki, Anthony Matt, Kelly Hinson, and weather with meteorologist Dave Anderson on Live, local, CBS3. When severe weather hits, tune to CBS3 for up-to-date coverage morning and night.
The nursing program at Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College is really challenging, but it has to be. It's approved by the Board of Nursing. And graduates here have been successfully passing the state board exam. They give you real-world experience with healthcare institutions across the community. I'm really glad I chose Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College.
In recent times, we've witnessed the brave faces of many people all over the world. Now, it's your turn to be one of them. Memorial Blood Centers is building a local and national supply of convalescent plasma to treat patients with serious or immediately life-threatening COVID-19 infections. If you have recovered from COVID-19 or tested positive for the antibodies, we need your help. To donate convalescent plasma, visit NBC.org. If you can't give convalescent plasma, you can still save lives by giving blood.
When facing a major healthcare decision, it's wise to seek a second opinion from a team of established experts. Financial decisions deserve the same level of care and expertise. At MPPL Financial, we develop your plan by assembling a personalized team that includes experts in multiple disciplines. So the result is a coordinated care plan that covers all areas of your financial life. Your outcome depends on the quality of care you receive. Call today to set up your free second opinion consultation or visit MPPLfinancial.com.
Fire threatens everything in its path. When it threatens our communities, we respond. We bring the fight to the front line. The Army National Guard stands ready because sometimes the front lines are in our own backyard. We will always be there when our community needs us the most. Find out more about serving your community part-time by visiting NationalGuard.com.
I chose a career that isn't easy, it's dangerous, and it's hard. Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College has set me up with everything I need to succeed. Through challenging classes, longer defensive tactics training, and instructors who work in the industry, Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College is setting me up for success.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
Now, the CBS3 Duluth Weather Max forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
Well, like Tony mentioned, we had some flurries around the region this morning and a cloudier sky as well. Then those flurries flew towards the Upper Peninsula, and as our night goes on, they'll fly someplace else and leave us on the drier side. But let's go in and take a close-up look at this picture here coming in from our good friend John Picard. He was on the Mr. Toot show back in the 70s. Now he's down to just having his pictures on the weather. Just teasing, John. Thanks for sending that in. He is an old friend. But he, this afternoon, captured that break in the clouds that started to come across as our trough of lower pressure left and slightly higher pressure takes over for the short term. We may get a little sunshine like that come tomorrow, but after that we're going to cloud up for the rest of the week. Cloud up, but maybe not get any snow. It's going to be a splitting of the pressure differences. Not high enough for sunshine, but not low enough for a lot of snow. Here's a look at the current conditions in Ashland right now. It's looking pretty nice and pretty calm there and very wintry. At least in December, we finally started to play catch up with the snow. We could use some more for snow fans. Don't think, though, we're going to get much of it this week. There's really only one chance, and it's just a slight one. Current conditions at the airport, 27 degrees. Northwest wind with a westerly component hitting 8 miles per hour, and the air pressure has nudged up 1 whole millibar in the last 5 hours, 1,012. And that's not overly high. It's in the middle of the pack, and that's why we're going to be in this netherworld, like I've been saying, of a cloudier sky, but not much snow for a week. Maybe our next snow chance comes on Saturday. We'll show it to you in a bit. Right now, temperatures in the Upper Peninsula are in the mid to upper 20s. We're looking at a cool spot of 16 in Solon Springs, but a warm spot towards Ashland at 24. Hayward is down to 12, at least briefly. Temperatures could warm up overnight, though, as time goes on and warmer air comes wafting into the region. But on the Minnesota side of the border, we're down to 18 in Silver Bay, but still holding on to 27 in Cloquet, and even Grand Rapids is at 28. So I think our low temps tonight likely will go from about 15 to 25 for most of our towns, which actually is a little bit warmer than normal for this time of year. All right, there goes that little trough of lower pressure that brought flurries earlier today, and now it's even exiting the Upper Peninsula, which sets us up for the rest of this week, where again, the high pressure cell will be pretty far to the south. The next coming low is way off to the west, and so we'll have a cloudier sky, but no snow until Saturday or so. And even that chance, when it finally breaks out and gets to us, is only a 30% shot. Now, what do we get tonight? In Minnesota, low temps, like I mentioned, should go about 15 to 22 or so. Then for Wisconsin and Michigan, they should go about 17 to 22. And taking a look at tomorrow, partly sunny sky, Wisconsin and the UP with a high near 30. Warmer than normal again. Minnesota high temps 25 to 29, warmer than normal again as well with a partly sunny sky, but just not as warm as it was today. Extended forecast, we stay near 30 perhaps through Thursday, then in the mid-20s through next Monday. And with partial sunshine on Tuesday, Tony, we then get a cloudier sky Wednesday through Friday, culminating in that 30% chance for light snow on Saturday, giving way back towards partial sunshine next Sunday and Monday. So it doesn't look like any major excitement this week for temperatures or precipitation.
Yeah. It's a pretty forecast, you know, not a lot to talk about there, just winter weather.
Yeah, winterish weather, because it almost verges on what spring is like. When that finally comes around, we cracked 30. Yeah. I'll break off the shorts.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. We're getting an idea tonight of some of the major changes being made to next month's 47th Annual American Birkebeiner. To help stop the spread of COVID-19, the races will be spread out over 5 days. There will be no warming tent or transportation for skiers. They will have to park and wait in their cars until they're called and told to head onto the course. Spectators will not be allowed. The race also had to cut down on volunteers, resulting in touchless drink and food stations for the skiers. And if skiers still don't feel safe, there's also a virtual option.
The Birkie has created an app that is just about to launch, and you will actually do your race in that. So you still get credit for doing a Birkie. For a lot of people, it's really important. I got another year in. We send them their finisher medal and their bib and all the stuff they would normally get by coming here.
The race route will also be very different, starting and ending in Cable rather than its normal Hayward finish line. The University of Wisconsin-Superior is one step closer to launching its brand new state-of-the-art floating classroom. UWS and the Lake Superior Research Institute received a big boost. 2 alumni will match donations up to $100,000. The money will go towards planning for and buying a boat, which will be home to the floating classroom. It will allow students to study the lake out on the water. Anyone interested in supporting the project can contact the UW Superior Foundation. Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, the control of the Senate hangs in the balance. We have the latest details from Georgia coming up next.
CBS 3 live cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
Home Furniture's New Year's sale continues with up to an extra 10% off sale prices, plus 0 down, 0% interest financing on any purchase until 2022, and free no-contact shipping. 10% off during the New Year's sale, only at Home Furniture.
New name, same great service. Auto Care Collision Center has joined the CarStar family, and we're ready to serve the Northland. Call CarStar Auto Care Collision for your auto body repair needs.
The health of the Iron Range is our passion. That's why at Fairview Range, we do everything we can to keep our community healthy and safe. Our compassionate team is always here for you and for each other. No matter what, we step up because that's just what we do. We are here for you, always. Fairview Range, we're here.
Mom, I'm here. Mom, where are you? Help! Mom?
Without emergency protection, you risk your life. But with Life Alert, one press of a button can get you help fast.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-458-9565. That's 1-800-458-9565. Call now, 1-800-458-9565. For a free brochure, call 1-800-458-9565.
Here are some quick tips for a safer shopping experience. Though reusable bags are great for the environment, they can be a carrier for bacteria. Before shopping, please wash all bags. Try to keep 6 feet or 2 shopping carts of distance between you and other shoppers. Plan ahead so your trip can be quick and efficient. Though cash is accepted at most businesses, cash can transfer bacteria. When possible, try to use cards to lessen the risk of spreading illness. With your help, we can keep our neighbors healthy and workers safe.
Don't let the weather ruin your day.
Covered by a winter storm watch.
Dave Anderson, Caitlin Moffat, and Peter Kavikauskas. The CBS 3 weather team, tracking more than just severe storms. Dave.
During Home's New Year's sale at Sleep Express, get 0% interest financing on any Tempur-Pedic mattress for 6 years. Plus, Home will give you a bonus $300 shopping card, free delivery, setup, and a 120-day comfort guarantee. Home's New Year's sale at Sleep Express.
509 FXR, HJC, and Climb Snow Apparel at RJ Sport and Cycle.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show! This show is about connection. Not even 2020 and socially distancing ourselves are going to get in the way of that.
Are we 6 feet apart?
It feels
good. For coverage that matters most to you, tune to CBS 3.
With control of the Senate hanging in the balance, President Trump and President-elect Biden are focusing their attention on Georgia before the state Senate runoff election tomorrow. President-elect Biden spoke in Atlanta, urging Democrats to vote in Tuesday's Senate runoff. Meanwhile, Vice President Mike Pence made a stop in Milner to rally Republicans to get to the polls. Senator Kelly Loeffler campaigned this morning, while Senator David Perdue, who is in quarantine, appeared on television. Democratic challengers John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock rallied together, hoping to capitalize on the state's shifting demographics. Still ahead in sports, high school sports are back in the Northland. Kelly has more from the first day of practices. That's coming up next.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
Mariah Haberman here from Discover Wisconsin. Join me and the rest of the crew every week on this station for all things Wisconsin. Continue the adventure on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and discoverwisconsin.com. Plus, subscribe to the Cabin Podcast, available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
The COVID-19 pandemic is the worst healthcare crisis of our lifetime. Hospitals, care centers, and their staff are overwhelmed, and it's getting worse. By now, we all know someone who's been affected by the virus. But there is hope. Vaccines are coming and getting closer every day. But while we wait for relief, you need to do your part. Wear a mask, wash your hands, and maintain your distance. It's for now, not forever.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
I can't even hug her. I'm touching people. I'm touching you. I'm touching you.
This show is about connection. And not even 2020 and socially distancing ourselves are going to get in the way of that.
Are we 6 feet apart?
Let's just check it out.
The major key is to make sure they watch the Kelly Clarkson Show.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. I'm a better neighbor because my service has taught me to understand how important it is to be a team player. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my community and those I care about safe from threats. Learn more about how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Everything that happens on a day-to-day basis in terms of news, no matter what happens in news, weather is always constant, weather is always changing as well. So it's still an important role as the meteorologist to kind of still stay grounded and to kind of just know that role and what to take and kind of just make sure you're delivering what's the most important for your viewers. But then also I like to touch base on the national things. All of those news stories also tie in with weather stories because they do go kind of hand in hand.
Watch Jenna and Caitlin in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m. Now, CBS3 Sports with Kelly Hinson.
At long last, winter high school sports are back in the state of Minnesota. Tryouts are underway as well as practice. CBS3's Brian Campos spoke with the Duluth East boys hockey team today on what it means to be back out on the ice.
It's a great day for high school hockey today.
After state guidelines were relaxed, the Duluth East boys hockey team finally laced up their skates for the first time on Monday.
I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. Get the season going. Got a busy season here.
The Greyhounds will have to act fast with only a handful of practices before their 18-game regular season begins.
18's better than 15 or 16, so you got to look at the positive part of it, and it could be a lot worse.
A season that will look and feel different, especially for the players on the ice, who will all be wearing masks.
It's a lot harder. You use your peripherals, and this blocks your view. Breathing is way harder.
With a delayed start to the season, Randolph says players have found a way to stay busy.
The kids were finding ponds and lakes and places to skate until the outdoor rinks got going, and now that the outdoor rinks are going, they've been able to find ice, but there's nothing like coming into our home rink and starting our season.
Ultimately, when the puck is dropped on the season next Thursday, the Greyhounds will have plenty to play for.
Butterflies all over. Played Denfeld first game, big rivalry, and I think we're all ready to go though.
Thanks, Ryan. As Eli mentioned there, the season kicks off with a big one as East will host Denfeld next Thursday at the Heritage Center. 7 o'clock is the puck drop time. Well, the second half of the Bulldog hockey season is officially off and running. UMD split their first 2 games outside of the NCHC pod against St. Cloud State over this past weekend. They've consequently been dropped a spot in the USCHO poll. In today's latest rankings, UMD is down to number 5, while St. Cloud stayed put right behind them at number 6. The Bulldogs and Huskies will meet for a rematch series in Duluth this upcoming weekend. Both Jackson Cates and Wyatt Kaiser were nominees for NCHC Player of the Week awards for their performances in St. Cloud. On the basketball court, it's been a great start for the 2021 men's Bulldog basketball team in terms of wins, but off the court, they've run into some bad fortune. UMD's series at Minot State, scheduled for this Friday and Saturday, have been officially canceled due to COVID-19 testing protocols. They've now had 3 of their first 4 games canceled after their game against Winona State this past Sunday was called off due to a positive test in Winona's program. The game will not be rescheduled, and UMD will be idle until their next scheduled series when they host 2 games against UMary on January 15th and 16th. To the pros, the Bucks were in action tonight over in Detroit. It was the first big Giannis game of the season. In January, he had 30 points at the half, including that high percentage look. Milwaukee was in the driver's seat for most of this one. Giannis would eventually finish with 43 points. They win it handily, 125 to 115, the final. And some good news from the NCAA today. They confirmed that the 2021 Division I men's basketball championships will be played entirely within the state of Indiana. In fact, most of the 67 games will take place in Indianapolis. Selection Sunday will be March 14th. The Final Four is scheduled to begin on April 3rd, with a champion being crowned on April 5th. The teams will all stay in controlled environments with required COVID-19 testing. Practice courts will be set at the Indiana Convention Center, which is connected to the hotel where most of the teams will stay.
You know, last year we had to rip March Madness away from all the teams and all the fans at the very last minute. We all know it was the right thing to do, but it was also an incredibly painful thing to do. And this year we want to make sure we deliver on the promise of March Madness.
And that's going to do it for sports tonight. We'll be right back after the break.
Change the future of medicine from the convenience of home. Join the All of Us research program to help improve health research and speed up medical breakthroughs. Visit essentialhealth.org/allofus to learn more.
Everything that happens on a day-to-day basis in terms of news, no matter what happens in news, weather is always constant, weather is always changing as well. So it's still an important role as the meteorologist to kind of still stay grounded and to kind of just know that role and what to take and kind of just make sure you're delivering what's the most important for your viewers. But then also I like to touch base on the national things. All of those news stories also tie in with weather stories because they do go kind of hand in hand.
Watch Jenna and Caitlin in the morning at 5 and 6 a.m.
Welcome to the Kelly Clarkson Show!
I can't even hug her. I'm touching people. I'm touching you. I'm touching you.
This show is about connection, and not even 2020 and socially distancing ourselves, they're going to get in the way of that.
Are we 6 feet apart?
Let's just check it out.
The major key is to make sure they watch the Kelly Clarkson Show.
Work, school, grocery shopping, doctor's appointments, the gym, to the airport to pick up loved ones, to the kids' soccer games, piano lessons, out for movie night, to hear your favorite band in the city, over to Grandma and Grandpa's house, and on last year's amazing road trip. Your vehicle takes you so many places. Protect it. When you leave your vehicle, remember to always take your keys or key fob with you and lock the doors. If you suspect auto theft, contact the National Insurance Crime Bureau at 1-800-TEL-NICB. That's 1-800-TEL-NICB, or visit our website at www.nicb.org. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Always ready, always there. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Men's wardrobe provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men, celebrating 30 years in business in 2021 with 30% off store-wide, downtown Duluth.
There's a new Guinness World Record for the most amount of diamonds on a single ring. Get this, it's 12,638. It breaks the previous record by nearly 5,000 diamonds. Now, the founder of Renani Jewels in India set the new record with this impressive design on December 21st. The ring is named the Marigold, or the Ring of Prosperity. It has a circular band with an ornate floral design, weighs nearly 6 ounces, and the stones are 38-carat natural diamonds. Guinness World Records say all the diamonds are conflict-free. Dave, that's a lot of diamonds.
Yeah, it really is. Nice to hear they're conflict-free as well.
Yeah, of course.
And you know, in our weather for the week ahead, there's not much conflict coming our way. It's going to be rather calm. A bit cloudy, but calm. Not many precip chances this week. We had one earlier today that paid off a little bit. Next one may not be with us until Saturday, and that's just a 30% chance for light snow. Otherwise, temperatures will be warmer than normal for the highs and for the lows all the way through next Monday.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for joining us tonight. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.